Hello everyone, welcome to Zelda Speedruns 2. Today we've got the Link to the Past No Major Glitches League Season 5, Tower of Hera Division Round 3 match between Eriror and matt7898. I'm going to hand it over to our commentator Chex Human. Hope everyone enjoys the race.
Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to Round 3 of NMG League. I'm Chex Human, and I'll be joined by Clear Mouse later in the race. And hope everyone's doing well today. Our runners should be starting fairly soon. And we have Eri on the left. One of our top runners of A Link to the Past. And former world record holder. We have Matt on the right, another top competitor. We have both runners in the mountain division of this season, which is the top division in the season. So it should be a fun race. All right, they are off. And of course, we get a telepathic message from Zelda telling us she is trapped in the basement of the castle and we need to rescue her. Both runners make it out of Link's house cleanly. This first segment is Escape. It's all about clean door entry all the way through. There's really nothing else to talk about except clean door entry. Clean hole falls. There's really no way to tell whether the bush grab was good from my perspective. This first screen before Hyrule Castle is slightly challenging. You want to like cut it close to the guards, but not actually get hit, and that can be a little tricky sometimes. Let's see our RNG here. Eri slashes 3 times to get a guard out of the way, slowing him down a little bit. Both runners are synced essentially. I missed if Matt had any time loss that set him back. Maybe the same screen, or maybe it was the courtyard like I mentioned before. Here we are in stealth room. Both runners stealthily avoiding the eyesight of the green guards. Sights in this game are controlled by search beams, which sort of radiate outward in a line, and then you can imagine them sort of waving back and forth. Actually, I think it's just one direction. I forgot whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise, or how that works. That's how BMOS work as well. Searching Link before lasering him. Alright, we had 2 decent fights with ball and chain guards. Fox says they sweep back and forth. That's what I was thinking, like windshield wipers. But I don't recall exactly. You can view it in the practice hack. It's kind of neat to see the visualizer. We have both runners facing the wall as they travel out of that screen. That always saves 1 frame to continue holding diagonal upright. All right. Both runners returning. Clean door entry. That's all there is to talk about here. Okay, well, besides that, there's also enemy RNG, of course. So we've seen how runners need to either slash or dodge. Sometimes it's hard to decide whether to slash or dodge or boomerang. So that's where the decision making comes in this segment. We also want to collect rupees. We want at least 4 rupees. We may or may not collect any in this segment. It's not usually meant for paying attention to collection. What the runners do pay attention to is the count of where their rupees are. Is booming always faster than slashing? A boom is the same as a slash if your slash misses. But since you want your slash to connect, there's I believe 3 frames of lag. So a boom is faster by 3 frames. All right. Eri makes it to the sanctuary floor first. Both runners avoid Zelda's extra text box. And they are out. All right. So here we are in Sanctuary. We need to mash through some text. We need to avoid repeating the text. I never see anyone do it in a race, but I have done it before. So we just need to say, did you understand? Yes. And then we need to pick up a sanctuary heart if we think we need it. And both runners say they want it for the race. A perfect safety for NMG. Our runners have 4 hearts instead of 3, and especially in the first few dungeons, it's pretty helpful to have that extra heart container. Time for Eastern Overworld. And let's see if we can just hold down. Matt did pretty well with just holding down. Eri stopped a little bit, but hardly cost it. His stopping hardly cost him any frames or seconds. All right, we've got the first Arma statue. Eri was able to slash the Octo Rock out of the way, which is pretty cool. All right, so we see Eri especially, and Matt as well. They're using stair drag cancel, a technique used mostly in the last couple of years of speedrunning. Before that, it was not really known or used. It can save up to 10 frames at the top and bottom of every staircase, every manual stairs. It's pretty difficult to do on every staircase, especially when you need to control your movement, continuing movement to the right like you do on those first sets of stairs. But both runners have adapted to it. So here we are in the dungeon, Eastern Palace. Both runners make it through Stealtho Spawn with no problem. Both of these runners are so top level that it's hard to tell any mistakes between them. But what's kind of unbelievable is that Aries PB is a minute faster than Matt's, over a minute. So from room to room, that level of difference is really hard to spot. Both runners doing optimal strats cleanly, but there are frames that can be saved everywhere. And minor errors can add up. And minor time saves add up to increase the difference. Let's look at the space. Huge space between anti-fairies. Well done from Eri. Let's see, Matt. They interlock. We have tessellating anti-fairies. My favorite. As the room goes on, the anti-fairies get closer together. So they didn't even get close to touching on Eri's side. Part of the most difficult tech of this game is picking up and throwing pots. And Eri does it extremely well. Alright, our most fight, we have the Pinka set up for Eri. And same for Matt. Very well done. Matt collects the pendant slightly lower than Eri. That might save frames. The lower you catch the pendant, the more frames you save. For some reason, I believe it has to do with Link catching the pendant quicker, and then I don't know what happens technically. Doesn't Eri usually do Yuzu Armos? I believe so. Maybe in a race setting, he chooses not to do that. Yes, but it's an off day. Okay. He usually does in races. I didn't realize. Okay. Thank you. So someone accidentally turned Yuzu Armos off in Eri's controller. So we just go with the standard setup. Actually, there's multiple standard setups, but Pinkas Armos is most popular among top runners. Alright, we have Unholy Spin Speed for Eri. What does Matt do? Matt does not use Spin Speed. And the Spin Speed tech can save 10 frames or so. Probably more, but I don't know how to achieve that. It is one of the spin speeds that requires real precision. And our runners dash through screens. I wish I could have commented on, but I don't really know what there is to say about them. They want to avoid splashy dashy. Not to be confused with slashy dashy, a new sword technique we recently came up with this month, and have not found a way to use it. But our runners are entering Desert Palace. Eri uses a spin technique on the Devil Ant. And Matt uses the dash which we see more frequently. The spin only loses 5 to 10 frames. Oh, yeah. So oftentimes when I do the spin strat, I get a drop, oftentimes a 20, depending, of course. Oh, nice RNG reaction from Eri to redash. Matt goes a little bit off center with a similar RNG. So anywho, yeah, with a spin that we saw from Eri, that's an indicator that he's looking for money. I didn't realize that, so thank you. And Eri also gets the Circle of Pots rupee. Matt does as well, so that takes them both over 9 rupees. And we'll see what they want to do with that. Essentially, I would say they want to skip a blue rupee from a tree pool, I believe. Alright, we have Desert 2 spin speed for Eri, very nice. Always slightly scary for people like me. Alright, Matt does not go for that spin speed. So we continue through desert. Eri dashes beneath the torch. We see almost everyone converting to dashing below the torch in the last couple of years, since Yuzu started doing it as a way to ensure good RNG from Popos. Nice torch lighting. Now Eri is going into the Landmo fight. How does he do it? That was amazing. So the third Landmo is killed on the first cycle, and we have a 2 cycle. Very well done. Let's see how things go for Matt. It looks a little out of control as of the 2nd cycle. Still is dealing damage to the worms, which is good. It's a 4 or 5 cycle. Not what Matt wants. Well done from Eri. Making it through. Onward to the mountain segment, let's say. Our runners will be dashing through South Shore, and they'll be using fake flippers to get to the north side of the world. And let's see how Eri deals with fake flippers here. Gets the fake flipper, releasing his sword very quickly, which scares me a little bit because it makes me think he didn't hold a poke. But that is not true. He just has a finely optimized walk. He's also a boomerang switcher, and so is Matt. I didn't notice. Both runners menued to boomerang. Matt has a down walking pickle, 2 down walking pickles, and an interrupting crab. So Matt slashes it away, and... or was that a boom? Regardless, they got out of his way. Having the boom was helpful. So, a rough start to Hera for Matt. And Eri makes it to the mirror without taking damage. Let's see what else is in store in this segment. A boulder, almost unavoidable, of course. This game has a fun one-hit knockout hack, by the way. I have to say that. On this screen, I always think about that hack because you want to avoid damage. in OCO mode, and in this screen, you just don't have an option sometimes. Alright, so Matt does not take damage from Death Mountain as he continues to the warp. Eriror using a boom dash strat. Nice. Okay, unfortunately he has to take care of the gatekeeper Moldorm. So takes a little. Did he take a little damage there? Well, regardless, it slowed him down. Eri gets the coffee break. Do we get boom strats from Matt? I don't recall his strats. He does not do that. No, that's right. And we can see in past Matt, if you pull up Matt's stream, he has previous PB videos, so we can see that Matt does not use boomerang in that room. Alright, torches for Eri. Misses a torch. That's fine. Continues on. Loses frames. Yeah, Matt uses the dash strat, which I still associate this with Oase. And Matt does it too. Just a dash through the door at the end. Alright. It's the petting zoo for Eri. He's going for an early bomb jump. Does he have to correct? Yes. And it's a correction down, which I don't even know how you do that. Like, technically, do you hold down for 1 frame? Is it 2 frames? I'm not sure. But regardless, it is precise. And I'm joined on the line by Clearmouth.
Oh, Chex, how's it going?
Hello, going well. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. I do apologize for being not so timely for this commentary because this is actually in my opinion, one of the most important races. And for NMG, this is this is like the finals, right? Basically, I mean, quote unquote finals.
Yes.
Yes, both Matt and Eri are undefeated, and I also do see.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah, looks like we have a pretty good light world actually going.
Yeah, both runners have been pretty solid. Desert was difficult for Matt at the boss, but yeah, I agree. This is a big race. I did not build up the hype at all, so I'm glad you're here to join me.
Oh no, Chex. I mean, I don't think I can thank you enough, basically, for holding on the fort for so long, especially when I did not give you an accurate time estimate. Right. Okay. So that was the other thing that I was very sad about, is that I unfortunately missed Bo Lanmos, which is, of course, objectively the absolute best boss fight, in all of Link to the Past, randomizer or not. But yeah, to choose like a Lamo, yeah.
Best boss of all games.
That's right. Yeah, and especially I think for and I don't want to downplay any of the abilities that Eri has. He does have like a 123 flat time for NMG, extremely consistent. Honestly, like he also is now the world record Dark World holder, which is. Oh yeah. You also cannot understate that as well for basically how good he is at this game.
That happened this week.
It did.
The first 53-minute. Dark World.
Oh no. Okay. Is Eri the world record holder? I believe he's like the first on SRL. I believe at least he's first officially. Oh, second place. Okay, never mind. See, Fox. Okay, just listen to Fox. He knows better.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you mean by world record holder. So in this category, the world record is Eddie's. Eddie has a lower time, but it is not an officially submitted and verified run. It has broken video, but it is the fastest run ever done. Eri has the world record officially verified on speedrun.com.
Oh, Eddie does have a Okay, well that's also good to know. Okay.
That's right. That's a good point. I'm not sure that is on SRC, but it was also a verified 122, the first 122. So there have been two 122s essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually it's extremely just like mind blowing how fast these runs are, and I guess maybe just for future potential world record holders, especially, it is always a good idea to local recorders. I mean, like it's just kind of unfathomable basically for how fast like a 122.49 is, considering how much time and effort and practice and runs you would need basically to cut down even 5 to 10 seconds between any if you already have 123 going from a high 123 even to like a mid 123 it is it's undescribable basically how much work you basically have to go do, and so basically even to get down to like the 122 even for not even like 5x is truly really impressive.
For sure.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like in this.
Yeah, we're in the Aga Tower segment. This is a difficult dungeon. Some people find it harder than Ganon's Tower.
Wait, really? Really?
I've heard this. I believe. I don't remember who it was. I don't want to misstate it, but it is so annoying to try to avoid damage. To do rooms cleanly. It was Malmo, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay. I mean, I do think that, okay, so, granted, oh no, okay, alright, Matt, was saved. Yes, okay, so the good news for Matt is that when he did kill the guards in the blue guards, when he slashed them, they didn't drop anything, which means that his prize pack, or his potential fairy, in Turtle Rock is still safe. If we actually did see a heart drop, still would have been okay, potentially, because every drop is 50-50, but it is much more risky in this case that he is going to not be able to have a fairy. Nice chest turn, by the way, on Matt's side as well. You can actually see, the right hand side of the screen. But yeah, and I was gonna say, yeah, actually, sorry, and not to, in this case, interrupt what you were talking about earlier about Aga Tower being probably one of the, arguably one of the hardest dungeons, even harder than GT. Probably to some extent, I do think that, there is probably like runners preference, as in like there are probably going to be just some dungeons or some splits you're going to be better at, right? Now that being said, though, I think the fact that you essentially have to go through Aga Tower damage list, as you mentioned, I think is actually a very good challenge. It's a very big challenge, because at least in GT, right, you got a bunch of health, and you're maybe kind of expected to take a little bit of damage, especially to try and be a bit more aggressive to try and finish the rooms faster.
Circle of Pots for Matt. Gets the stun with the boom return, which is fortunate. When you throw your boomerang, you can easily, miss the initial throw, but it is a boomerang, so it comes back to you. All right, Aghanim. We have just pure RNG, essentially. Eri moves to the right when Aga goes to the right.
What do you think Eri's coded message in chat is, out of curiosity?
Well, let's see. Maybe he slashes Aghanim and takes damage? I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I mean, so I know that Eri is not currently in League. He is not part of any team that has come up with ridiculous acronyms for their team league name.
Right.
Ones that never have made any sense whatsoever. And... or this actually could be a coded message that he just gets 0 blue balls because apparently he just got out real quickly for this. Is this a good or bad thing? But I mean, looking at his personal splits, he is 3.6 seconds ahead of his at least coming into Dark World. And I think and for his PB, it looks like he has 2 blue balls. So
I thought it was 1, so I don't know what I was thinking.
This is what I get for not counting. I need a compass for Aga Tower for specifically blue balls. Matt, on the other hand, so I have at least witnessed 2 on his side. This is not really the way that you want things maybe to
No.
go, especially with if you're facing against Eri. I mean, and you never want a race to be decided by blue balls. But when you are somebody facing Eri, I don't really think it matters who you are. It's just you don't need any extra help letting Eri pull further ahead.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
We are definitely going through another lightning cycle.
Yeah, this is.
We
really
already made it, so we didn't get to 7. I don't know exactly how many that was.
Yeah, that's. It's also, once it gets past a certain once it gets past the number of fingers I have in one hand, it just kind of becomes there. No more counter. You just have to kind of keep going. Now that being said, though, it does look like probably like 1 pod entry ish, maybe a little bit more. On Matt's side, that kind of separates Eri and Matt. Now that being said, though, so Matt, actually just like Eri, when you were talking about consistency, he is extremely solid. He's been playing a lot of NMG lately. Certainly been kind of getting back to doing regular runs. I certainly would expect him to just basically be playing his game. He probably does know that he is at a disadvantage when it comes to Eri in terms of just raw things. But I mean, that being said, you're not vetting PB against PB. You are vetting a real run, a real-time run, of your own, to Aries. And while Eri is still also very consistent, does not also mean that things can't happen. So.
Yeah, part of the fun of races is you can choose really not to race against your opponent. You're always racing against yourself while speedrunning. So it can be, more important to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Depending on what strats you want to use or what you want to, how you want to control your negative self-talk, let's say. It helps your mental state.
Dude, you are so correct. I mean, so this may not be as applicable just because it is NMG, it's speedrunning. You are allowed to kind of watch where your position is, contrary to relative to your opponent. So maybe you have especially for Eri, he probably has a very strong pulse of where his opponents are all the time because he for some reason is capable of chatting and watching and listening and also playing at 123 level. But that being said, though, maybe if you're in Matt's position, sometimes you necessarily don't want to be watching. But if you think that you I have a big enough gap between yourself and your opponent, the most important thing probably is to just play your game because essentially at some point, past some threshold of time, whatever that threshold you think is, you're gonna have to your opponent will need to probably make a mistake, in order for that time gap to be close enough. For you to maybe win out over execution. And so if that does happen, you need to absolutely make sure that you also do not handicap yourself into also making mistakes. So most important thing is just to play your game. Did we actually see Eri do the regular route, by the way, in pod? We did not see any special... I think Eri's probably one of the few people I think that does not use the boots to their absolute peak, fullest extent. I believe that's where he got his Dark World record from, was basically saving a bomb and just kind of going over to the pod big chest, the hovering way. But sometimes if you're not feeling the hover, you're not feeling the hover. Even people like Eri may not necessarily want to, or especially in this case, if it's a race situation, maybe there's actually just a bit more risk involved than that he's kind of willing to bear. Yeah, I think I was also pointing out earlier when Eri did mimics in the back, very nice 10 arrow drop. I mean, I don't think they're required but they're extremely nice to have.
Eri going into Helma, definitely a gatekeeper of this category, but it should be no problem for Eri. Plus, he's got full hearts.
Yeah, full hearts is definitely a benefit, and this is the exactly reason why we want full health going in. It looks like actually Eri and Matt also did pick up Sanctuary Heart. I definitely
really nice fight.
Yeah,
Yeah, like you said, they both have Sanctuary Heart, so it can take an extra hit from Helma.
Yeah, and you can't necessarily. So you talked about kind of like boss RNG. Whenever, in this case, Helma fires off the fireballs, which you again cannot control. It is so we don't want fireballs for multiple reasons. The first one obviously being that the fireballs is just slower animation than like the tail, but also all the different fireballs, especially when they disperse, cause some extra lag, so might also throw off your rhythm a bit. But also, like, you got to see there were multiple objects on the screen that can kind of hit you, right? And you kind of really want that health buffer. Even like the best of players, you can sometimes basically just get unlucky. But Matt, though, has had a very, very solid pod on his own right. Again, I think Matt is actually he's just like playing well, is what at least it seems like so far. And this is exactly what you kind of need in order to do. If Eri, like in this case, if Eri beats him, Eri beat him, don't lose the victory because you beat yourself. Yeah, we actually do see that, this is two separate, instances of the game. Matt and Zuki actually had, I think, an extremely well done Helmasaur fight. No fireballs, and actually looks like a very friendly phase 2 pattern out with the mask off.
For anyone keeping score at home, Eri had a Kiki RNG with a medium hop. Matt had a mini hop, a small hop. Kiki hops don't actually change any time in the run. But
I didn't even realize that was a thing.
It's the last hop that Kiki makes. So here we are, no longer in Palace of Darkness. Eri is in Thieves' Overworld. Second dig for the flute.
It's just really unlucky.
It happens.
It is. I mean, it's like sometimes not everybody has first dig luck. I mean, some people probably use it more often. In certain situations, you don't want to necessarily waste it, right? Some people, for Eri, maybe you want to try and do it for NMG. Some people you want to do it in rando. Yeah. And I don't even think I noticed this, or it was that much more pronounced until I think Matt ended up pointing this out. Was that so? We did last season for NMG League run vanilla preset, which was on the randomizer. But of course, yeah, you have all kind of like the randomizer amenities, right? Like quick swap and all these other things. One kind of one difference, at least actually, was like the flute dig up, was when you got the shovel, the item actually hops a lot higher than in regular, right. And this was maybe a bit more subtle, but I remember Matt complaining, like, you gotta, there are a lot of button presses that happen very quickly, very frequently, and all at once, basically just for, to dig up the flute and pick it up, so you don't lose any time.
Yeah. Plus, you don't get menu buffers in vanilla preset if you want to be optimal with quick swaps. Looks like Matt gets the quick warp, but on the pixel, slightly one to the right. So we see Matt adjust to the left before digging.
Mm-hmm. So actually, so do you think that Matt was potentially watching Eri's stream and figure out where the flute is, so he didn't have to do 2 digs?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. So that's our story. We're gonna stick to it.
Yeah, that's the advantage of being behind in the spoiler feed.
Yeah, actually, that was also maybe another thing also for vanilla preset, was because both people ran on the same, quote unquote, seed. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
an actual thing.
Right, and so at least for the vanilla preset, all the boss RNGs were seeded, so you could in theory actually kind of take a peek at maybe how, let's say, Helma was behaving, or or maybe even Landmost for that matter, depend on where you were kind of in the race, and maybe try to get instead of, so they can actually maybe plan a little bit, versus being more reactive. Now here it's just, I think it's just more of you just kind of maybe glancing where you think your opponent is. Because you're not probably going to get any help actually trying to actually fight the bosses. Oh no, Matt's that room, or that screen. That screen is never fun.
Yeah, that's screen looked a little different the way Matt did it than what I'm used to, so I'm not totally sure if it was intentional or it just went wrong.
I also do appreciate. So this is
Requiem
maybe
says
it's a walk strat.
Yeah.
I thought he did dash strats there in that room before.
That's what I thought too, but I didn't know how to describe it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, for what it's worth, though, and this also happens with Eri as well. But I mean, basically, any high level runner is they certainly have like the optimal, I guess, like regular strat, like for them, down practice extremely well. That being said, if things don't necessarily go right, they're very, very good at either doing like a backup strat or just like somehow recovering, right? Not necessarily like losing as much time, not letting things go off the rails, especially playing kind of like at this level. When things go off the rails very, very quickly and very direly, to the point where you probably could just be on like Oko or you just be dead, and within the matter of seconds.
Let's see, area strat going through
cells.
Just walking today.
We also have more arrow drops on Ares. Okay, like he has 22 arrows compared to Matt's 4. Like I mean, it's not like Matt is, I think, extremely lacking in terms of ammunition right now.
Right.
No. Oh no. Okay. See this. Everything's fine. There is no need to be upset. Do not let this tilt you. Yeah. Okay. Also, maybe not necessarily the best Hellway for Matt, but again, like suddenly when I think Matt did like a pretty decent job of just trying to shake things off, just playing your game. I think that room in general is just kind of difficult to do.
Yeah.
Especially when the timing's kind of thrown off from whatever you did in the previous room. Alright, so Eri, though, on the blind fight, looks pretty good so far. He also has, for better or for worse, no sword beams. Actually, so checks, do sword beams actually help in this fight? Like, in theory, like...
help, but they can also hurt. Sword beams throw off your timing a little bit because they hit faster for some reason. I don't know if they interrupt Blind's iframes or how that works, but they hit faster. So they have their own timing, essentially. And you can be too fast with them, meaning you have to re-slash. Oh,
is there any way that you can tell? Like, you can tell, I guess, ahead of time? Because sometimes it does look like if you have sword beams, like the beam hitbox just comes out faster than the slash. Okay. Yeah, because sometimes it does seem like the effects don't really manifest themselves until maybe like the 8th or 9th hit, in which case like that's when it kind of seems like things are either much faster or much slower. Because
I agree that it definitely affects the 8th and 9th hit. I'm not sure why that is. Fox, explain.
Yeah, Fox is the chat commentator. Alright, okay. So well, we're gonna see in this case, so Matt also does not have sword beams going to blind, so I certainly expect a very textbook fight from him. I will say though, in Matt's journey to get to 124, and he has grinded extremely a large amount, probably like end of last year, kind of coming into this year, is one thing that he seemingly was not able to do correctly, or at least had a lot of inefficiency, was actually the 8th blind hit. You would think that actually, from all the rando, all the NMG, the people have run, blind is a scripted fight, right? No, he actually had to basically relearn this fight, which is also, also just goes to show you, right? Like, doesn't matter what level you're playing. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, the 8th blind hit is so particular. It's very personal.
It's very personal. Oh no, checks. Is there a story related to this? Do you also have issues with the 8th hit?
No, I don't think so. I learned from ALttP, and it just changed the way I did it, because I felt like I had no particular inputs that I knew of that I did. Like, I just did it my own way. But then DAO strat helped simplify it.
Okay, great.
And what I mean by personal is that's the way that I chose. From there on, I'm not sure who does it other than, who else does it that way.
Okay. I think you also do bring up a good point as well. Like when we talk about like the blind fight being scripted, did you know that there are multiple scripts that also work? Like I didn't actually realize. I just kind of assumed that there was just kind of like one. But no, people actually still beat blind like in slightly different ways. It may actually kind of look ultimately the same because you just kind of want him to end up in the upper left-hand corner, like ideally, not within like the sunroof or whatever. But I mean, people actually end up going there slightly different ways, just might be a bit more subtle. I will also say that Eri, he has claimed his master sword.
Wow. Approached
so that is
from the top and bottom from mummies.
Yeah.
That is so rough.
That
but
is,
Eri makes it through as best he can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, so Eri did end up taking probably also a good amount of health damage as well. I mean, ideally you would not get hit by the Gyptos twice, but again, probably right now he is probably most concerned about is his time. And again, if I think that room, as you mentioned, I think went pretty well given what had happened in the first like 3 seconds. 3 seconds. Nice EBJ on Eri's side as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but I will say, like we got some good luck, on he did get fence dash, so the run is has some hope,
Yeah, the run is live, and for Matt, run is live.
Yeah, always really great to see. Yeah, it looks like though, Eri has gotten a bit more. Okay, we haven't seen Matt go into Skullwoods quite yet, so let's not, count our Gyptos before they end up hatching or anything. But Eri certainly has gotten his fair share of bad luck, for RNGs, because I think this was pointed out earlier, we got the Skull Bush as well in the dash, trying to get into C-shape house, and we also of course got the Gyptos. At least we got some good fire snakes. Yeah, but also, okay, I've seen Eri, pull off this fight many times. On, well, maybe not always on the whole my god. It's okay. He just needs like an 8 or a 9 or like a 10 out of 10 fight for Mothula, and we don't need any extra things, okay?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Everything is fine. Okay, well, okay, I also never know when Eri, whatever Eri says, types something in chat that's like not answer your question. Oh my god. Alright, well. Who was worried? Nobody was worried, correct? Nobody was worried?
No, it was all fine.
Even Eri was definitely not worried going into this fight. Chex, do you want to say thank you, Sankheart? I bet Eri feels the same way, actually.
Thank you, Sankheart. Yes, that's right. We did see Eri down to 1 heart. I'm not sure what happened in post Mummy Hellway. It looked like Eri wanted to move diagonal, but for some reason moved to the left. I'm not sure why. Yeah,
right. And I think he ended up getting hit by like a Gypto before going into that room. And I'm not sure, if he like didn't have like, maybe he just got nicked or something. It didn't look that close.
It also may have been that he was not used to not rod dashing or something. I'm not sure how that affected him, or if it did.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it definitely looked like he like hesitated a little bit before lighting the last torch before the next room. So if that kind of like threw off his normal strat, then I can certainly imagine maybe things look a little bit different in the next room. But speaking of those, Matt's also finishing up. I would say that probably Skullwoods. I mean, he can certainly have a better sense of what his best split is, but I think Skullwoods is certainly, from what I've seen, one of his best splits in Dark World.
Ooh. So Matt misses the key slightly, gets a bot, but it makes no difference in terms of his health as he falls to the fight versus Mothula.
Yeah. Got the
nice
fight.
Oh,
sick fight. Yeah. This is exactly, Matt, of course, having the reputation of the vanilla big key being the easiest room in the game, certainly has very much demonstrated, and he's this is actually very good Skullwoods, and as you mentioned, kind of topping it off with a very strong 9 out of 10 moth fight.
And we have the ice overworld for Eri, which is very challenging. He had a lottery dash, did not take damage, which is luck, not challenge so much. So it's a tough overworld overall.
Yeah, you mentioned actually, like the difficulty, and again, some people, it's probably still personal preference for what you consider, to be, personal difficulty is, very subjective. But the fact that you ideally would just not take any damage, honestly, I think is very similar to probably the assessment, of like Aga Tower, right? Ideally, we just not take damage. Versus, like in Skull Woods, right? It can still be a much more dangerous fight. You probably don't want to go into Mothula on 1 heart, or even 3 hearts, but the point is that you're still kind of able in Mummy Hellway, for example, you can still take damage and still be okay, right? As opposed to if once you take damage for, let's say, the Ice Palace split, there are methods of recovery, but
Yes.
but then you're leaving that even more to chance, right? So
It is, yeah.
and then you end up just like incurring like a much bigger time loss as a result if you can't get a heart drop or something.
Right. Like Requiem says, it relies on 3 50-50 chances to recover 2 hearts.
Ooh, all right, nice read of the.
Oh no!
I was gonna say it was a
Zora
good
flare.
read. Yeah, it was a good read of the RNG because normally you don't really see people like going across like on the top. You're trying to see them kind of like try to squeeze themselves in on the bottom. But Eri decided to try and take the top route, and after all that hard work, and nothing can ever take away from his accomplishments of doing like a good overworld. But again, one of the reasons why you want to come into Ice Palace is so you don't you have beams to take care of the Bari.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that Zora screen should have played out. I didn't quite see what went wrong or what went right. So losing those beams is pretty punishing for Ice 2. We saw Eri have to take his time in that room. Here we are in Bombable Floor, another ridiculously difficult room.
Yeah, Erin's doing a good job though reading the Bari RNG.
Yes,
I was actually gonna ask.
Well done.
Yeah, I was actually asking in Ice 2, like, so Eri used a Fire Rod shot. Like, is that Fire Rod shot like acceptable? Like, isn't like
Yes.
we can spare 1 Fire Rod shot
Yes.
in the entirety of like the Overworld plus Ice 2?
Yeah. We have to collect a magic decanter before Cold Stare.
Okay.
Before Cold Stare, there are 2 decanters. One we always pick up, and the other one is optional.
Okay, and I guess if it's just like literally right next to it, it's maybe just like a pot's worth of like time to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. That cost is certainly, it seems negligible. I understand that if you're trying to go for like the 123 or like the 1 whatever, right? 2x type of situation, maybe you don't even think that those frames are acceptable to find, but sometimes you also can't really control like the enemy RNG.
For me, it's very important, and this is because I have to remember to get that magic, and if I don't, then Cold Stare is impossible to beat. So I always try to save my magic, and otherwise I have to remember. So
okay.
Here we are. Ares pulling the statue will collect the optional magic that he needs here, and then fall to Cold Stare.
Yeah, kind of contrary to see what we've seen. Matt was fortunate enough to come in with Sword Beam. Certainly, I mean, a good amount of credit to his execution. But we also do see basically just how much faster that room was. All right, very nice fight on Ares' side.
Nice single poke strat.
Apparently that was rough.
It was a rough segment for Ares. Just the whole thing, I think.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he was maybe specifically referring to the fight itself, because the fight looked pretty good.
I think the fight was good. It was like the conveyor went wrong too.
Oh yeah, that's what's
for that room, or messing it up slightly throws it off.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Some of these effects, are cascading as well. Like, we talk about like Ice 2 probably being like the most prominent one, just because that's the first one, right? It's the most obvious one. But it's not like you can just lose beams for the rest of the split as well, because like as you mentioned, like you also would like to have beams for the conveyor belt, and sometimes it may not necessarily happen, especially if like pin gators, when you hit the switch doesn't behave with you.
Yeah.
You can't see Eri shaking his head. We can see Eri shaking his head on his personal stream. and certainly keep in mind that still Eri's, like his standards, for his level of play is certainly probably different than I would say, everybody except for him standards of play. Like yes, he did lose probably a little bit of time. At least according to his splits, probably 5 seconds on Ice Palace, at least from what he was executing from before. But 5 seconds is certainly a lot of time, by many, certainly by his standards. By the way, very excellent fight on Matt's side. So I think his Ice Palace actually looks pretty dang good.
Yeah, that was solid.
He had a probably reasonable overworld, did not take any damage, had beams for Ice 2, excuse me. And then very, very clean and fast full stair fight. Okay, but it looks like though Eri has okay, I believe in this case Eri and Matt take the same route, in that, well, I know Matt for sure is a big proponent of hook speed, so we are he definitely looks forward to being like the Smith spin speed being the absolute last spin speed of the game. So I certainly would very much expect him to go to Swamp Palace as well. Looks like Eri's also into Swamp because he probably also wants that hook shots. So we do not longer have to do spin speeds with the sword for the remainder of the game.
Oh, Eri farms a bomb. That's interesting. I think that's because Eri will avoid the restock room and is good on arrows. So Eri gets a bomb.
That's true. Granted, we haven't really used arrows, so far, but yes, like thanks to the 10 arrow drop from the mimics, and then another 5 arrow drop from I'm misplacing it. Somewhere early. He has a plethora of 15 extra arrows basically. And I think that's actually also very heads up. Oh my god, dude, this bomber. What a jerk. Yeah, I was gonna say that's also very heads up, I think, on Eri's side because, he's obviously certainly very conscious of resources. I think everyone at this point who runs this game at this level is. But in this case, if you don't have to go to the restock room, maybe it's actually just better to go get the bomb. Early.
Because that bomb is faster than the restock room bomb. Eri pushes out the door. Interesting.
Yeah, he's trying. So we are here. Yeah, we are here. At least with probably also almost guaranteed, I think, is more health than you are expected to have when you first come into this game. If you're doing a casual playthrough, because this is the chronological second dungeon of this game. Eri, I don't really foresee people being in danger of dying until, potentially, certainly Argus is going to be, the biggest source of danger, in terms of maybe ending your run. It's everything else that's in the dungeon that will probably just serve more of an annoyance in terms of time loss. Because every single time you get hit, maybe your damage was the wrong way, maybe you're trying to do a dash, and it's already being slowed down by the shallow water, but now you got to restart your dash, right, because you got hit. It's just, nobody really wants to get basically paper cutted, this in this dungeon. Do you also get tilted out of curiosity? If you just keep getting hit left and right by by very minor things.
Yeah, but it also kind of just depends on how much attention you're paying in Swamp. Whether you're going for a gold, whether it just depends on your overall pace. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Matt goes back for a drop. That's nice.
It's actually
not sure that would have been on the way back because he probably wants to walk up here. So yeah, he would have had to go out of his way regardless.
Yeah, and oh man, the standards of what it means to be going out of your way is so tight. I fully understand because unless it's literally on your walking path forward or whatever dash lines, it is considered to be out of the way. I think even in desert, if the popos end up dropping a 20 maybe 20 rupees is okay, but they end up dropping some money and you're still short on cash and it's right next to the compass chest, but it's not on right side desert, you still don't go pick it up because it's too out of the way. It's just it's only a couple frames or pixels apart. Not good enough for these guys.
Oh yeah, Eri gets to skip the fastest arrow pot in the game because he's got 27. He wouldn't get but 3 from that pot.
Do you remember the last time that somebody was actually at this many arrows, so such that the next one they pick up or something or get a drop would actually like, they couldn't actually carry all of the arrows? I don't remember the last time that happened in NMG.
I don't know. I haven't seen that. I do know that runners can skip that pod if they're good, but I just haven't seen that in races.
Looks like also Eri got a pretty reasonable Phelps way. I do give credit to game designers for basically putting that water tectite like exactly in the right way, such that it just kind of messes you up. Very solid fight here on Eri's side for Argus.
Well done.
Nice hero cycle and the commonly seen 2 fire rod shots in the slash or is in a spin. Probably a very few minor things. I think Eri ended up getting kind of stopped. So I mean, this is not like necessarily the best indicator, but maybe a good proxy is to see how much health in this case, like Eri, in this case, like have, because every single hit that you end up taking does kind of cost like half a heart or like a heart, and again, like they're not in danger of dying because they have so much health at this point, at least within the dungeon. But it kind of maybe gives you a sense of how much like time loss maybe you have, right? Every single time you take a hit, maybe chalk it up to whatever number of frames or something like that, because you have to go restart your dash, you have to go kind of get back on track to where you were, stuff like that.
Yeah, and it looked like a good swamp for Eri. I noticed that the first room, it was like he got locked out of some frames before he got locked out of slashing Phelp in the lobby.
Oh yeah.
But, otherwise, it all went pretty smoothly. And
dude, did you see that? Did you see Phelps way on Matt's side? That was like
just scooted by.
Super smooth. I mean, I was expecting him to get hit from one of the water tectites, but I mean, that's I guess he's been working out, so.
All right, Matt.
Did we get the 0? Okay.
Gets
like
a 1
missed,
cycle.
Right?
Switches to fire rod. Nice second cycle. Eri gets hit, and it not only causes damage, but also takes away his hook speed. So this is slightly costly in Eri's segment.
So he is also going to get Ice Rod, right? So he has maybe one more chance of getting hearts if the crowd behaves? Okay.
So we'll see what crabs will do for us and, before or after Ice Rod Cave. I think it's usually... Oh, we have chances here as well. Yeah, they can just walk into Link. That's a good thing.
I mean, it looks like certainly Eri was, being a bit more deliberate on that screen just to try and get, a heart back. Probably spending an extra, let's say, like 2 to 3 seconds on the screen, or it could, and you getting rewarded with a heart. It's going to be much more time loss. It's gonna be a net time gain ultimately if you can get Fastmire too.
Yeah.
That
approximately.
I was gonna say that.
Plus, it's safer.
Oh, that's also true. Yeah, actually, that's a great point. In Mire, kind of a stark contrast to Swamp Palace, where, health is just kind of, there for us, right? We're not really probably in any danger of dying. Health is actually probably the most valuable resource that we can use in Mire. Lots of places that you want to, intentionally take damage in order to get, in this case, like the fastest small key from the spike chest, but also you want to damage boost yourself a lot on the boss fight. So. I mean, there are going to be like a couple hearts that you can actually recover for, but in general, you really want to try and keep as much health as you possibly can coming into this dungeon.
Okay, good Fastmire 2 for Eri. Meanwhile, we saw a really nice Death Mountain overworld for Matt, and a quick warp from the first portal without using a menu. So
yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, quick warps are. I mean, I'm sure everybody goes for them every single time you transition, and I guess you just have to. Well, I mean, if you're maybe consistent at them, that's great. It's just like free 37 frames, kind of save, which is roughly like half a second, right? So if you can just basically get them, yeah. I was gonna say, Eri's crab screen probably was a bit more anxiety inducing. I will say that watching a bunch more of. Watching Matt's journey to get his 124 that screen is probably the worst
Oh.
anxiety-inducing screen because the crabs just do so much damage.
Yeah. All right, we got torches for Eri. Casual 103, 57 torches.
Yeah,
I don't.
Aerie
I have
is
not.
so good.
I don't think I've ever read out a time that low.
Yeah. It's really difficult, yeah, to like overstate. It is extremely easy to understate just how good Ares' execution is for this game is. And I understand, you know, you certainly understand that you don't always have to be necessarily on. We've certainly seen that Ares' consistency though is probably one of the hallmarks of his, I guess, like journey for the 123. He, I think, has always been a proponent of trying to finish your runs regardless of how poorly, you know, they have gone in like the early game or even like the mid game. It's very easy, you know, for especially if your run, you know, ends if you try to do a PP attempt at Helma at any point, right? It's still certainly very beneficial for you to essentially do like a comfy, you know, end of Dark World, for example, in order for you to just practice like the late game splits. So you're not necessarily like as nervous potentially, you know, when you're going into the end game on pace, right? And
Really
I mean, you're never
idea.
gonna be able to not be nervous, but it's, you know, any type of extra comfort and practice you've done, and it really does to show in this case for Ares' case.
Yeah, the end game really benefits from extra practice because there's so much to learn and drill.
Matt, for what like his Dark World, at least like for the mid to, well, I guess we were kind of in the early late game at this point. Has actually been like very, very solid. Certainly keeping up with his Dark World pace from at least his PB. I'm like I know that probably nobody is really necessarily like happy, you know, fully probably with their, you know, current PBs or whatever, because there's always room for improvement, etc. But Matt's Dark World is really quite strong.
Nice spooky action for Eri as he goes into Spooky 3.
Yeah. Just like, I mean, if we have like a tutorial or textbook, I mean, very well done on Aries' side. You know, did pretty much everything right. And we're gonna now finally be able to use some of those surplus of arrows that we have on Aries' side. We're gonna be able to get that eye, looks like.
Yeah, very well done.
Wow. Man, like, it's not often that you get to be able to just aggressively ram yourself in like on the right side of, and it would basically do like a side shot. You know, very well done on Ares' side. But again, this is kind of the reason why you also want health. You know, because it is a very valuable resource. Because if you didn't actually have that extra health, like 7 is comfortable for the textbook fight. 5 is, you know, doable, right? But if you have more, right, and you're not in danger of die, you can be certainly very aggressive to try and save up some time.
And Eri had the arrows to go for that for sure.
It's true. Yeah, that's true. Thank all the drops.
I have seen runners do that left shot at the left eyeball before. I'm not totally sure why that one got left. Maybe from spinning slightly too far to the right. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
But
actually, so
that
how much
cleanup does work.
So how much of like the eye movement RNG, I guess, is kind of affected by this fight? Because like, can eyes, I guess, just kind of like really try and move out of the way too far left?
It's mostly the first eyeball. Not sure how far left they can move. Oh,
Okay.
let's watch this Waffle House.
Oh, beautiful.
Not
All right.
slowed down. Beautiful.
No,
for Eri.
none whatsoever. You almost think that Eri might actually be living here, you know, in the South somewhere, you know, for the United States, because he's visited Waffle House, you know, so often.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, let's watch for Vitreous on Matt's side here. Yeah. No surprising RNG or anything. You know, sometimes
looks
the
very
last eyeballs can move out of place too, but you know, it's just minor. It's not like a single script fight, but it is scripted enough that you can adjust to some of the minor things that can happen.
Okay, that's actually really good to know then. I mean, and so it sounds like then for the most part things will still can go well. It's just that maybe sometimes you have to just adjust.
Yeah. And the main thing to learn is the initial eyeball, which you might have to avoid.
We
It's
are
definitely
also
a challenge for newer runners.
Yeah, I think everything is a challenge for for what it's worth. For newer runners, especially probably at this level. I mean, like, I mean, I do want to say that if you are, like, so Ari and Matt, so certainly Ari, is probably the best, at least active, League to the Past runners, with a flat 123 record, top whatever, like 2 or 3, unofficially, officially, whatever in the world. Matt, extremely talented. He has a 124.48. I mean, these guys are so fast at this game. If you are certainly like kind of want to try out this game for yourself, these guys are super encouraging, very helpful. Especially Ari. He has, I think, popped into like so many people's chats before just to encourage them, tell them what you can do to improve. How in this case you should be doing rooms. I like, and it's just in general like a very positive community. It's really just great to see. Alright, so speaking of, okay, so we have gotten past Pokies, nice chomps on Aries side. Okay, not nice in that the RNG probably wasn't, as friendly, but, Aerie knows how to take care of this. We also get a Waffle House on Matt's side as well. I will see some pretty damageless traversal here.
It's so rare to see both runners have no damage.
Great. I will say though, for what it's worth, like this, while this is at a very, I guess, well, U.S. or the East Coast. Oh no, everything's fine. It's fine. We don't need, all this extra health.
No, we don't need it.
Again, Aries just, again, probably more annoyed at the time loss.
Yeah, it was just Aries was slightly too far down, maybe even 1 pixel too far low.
It probably just, it seems like it's a lot worse just because, in Swamp, when you get hits, you get hit for, like, 10% of your health, right? 5% of your health. So, you have, like, 10 to 11 hearts, you get hit by, you take 1 hit, it takes 1 heart, you move on, right? Here, that laser beam takes 4 hearts of your damage, or of your life. Yeah, and suddenly, you don't feel as comfortable. Ari did, of course, he looks like he has a fairy saved up from Aga Tower. So he is, of course, back to full health, probably another reason. But he did not get the full magic, which is, I think, is still fine. He looks like he has plenty. You don't obviously need it, but it's, just kind of convenient for you.
We just need enough for this room. And for pegs. Peg maze. And depending on your strat for the beetle as well. Full health for Matt.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, so Matt ended up getting hit.
Darn.
He was really trying to sneak through.
Yeah, only 1 chomp bite for Matt.
Yeah. It really did look like he could squeeze through, and unfortunately, I don't know if Bao or well, either of them, one of those did not play well today. And yeah, kind of I was gonna say, so Ari got his fairy, I guess in what, Pokies 3? 4? When he was basically trying to do like it's Pokies 2. But Matt got it in Pokies 1, and so the chance of him kind of like being able to have full health when he does Crystal Roller is probably not gonna be very high. Everything's fine.
Not sure what the intention from Matt was there, but he did take advantage of the magic drop.
Yeah, so at least we have that going for him. I don't see him cycling through. I mean, he could, in theory, I think, cycle through all the ice packs again to go get the fairy, but he is certainly be a bit more. He is a bit more cautious, basically, about his health. 5 hearts right now is 1 hit away from Oko. So I don't think he should die. He should not die with basically 1 hit, but you don't really want to be in that position.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place to be in. Oh no, we released a spin too quickly. Okay.
Great.
Recovery for Matt.
This is fine. Everything.
Trinex, which I did not watch at
Oh,
all
yeah.
is down for Eri.
Sorry, Eri. We were too busy panicking on Matt's side. But again, thank you, Sankheart. This is why we pick up the extra heart, so we don't necessarily lose minutes, you know, as opposed to the 3 seconds that it takes to get it.
Trinex is a difficult boss fight to watch from a viewer perspective, in my opinion, because you're mostly waiting for the boss to be vulnerable.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
there's so many explosions.
True.
At least after the second head is down.
I guess only if you're doing it right or fast.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, especially if we go through like a more casual thing, or you know, if probably the more common case is like something goes off the rails. Things like that certainly is going to be like the bulk of your panicking time, and then you're going to like basically watch him do like all these attacks. But he is vulnerable, but you are going to have a much harder time trying to do damage to him because you're going to get into position. Yeah, it's like when you do the fight well, it's like all the stuff that you can cut out in terms of time spent is, well, you know, time basically for him, you know, for to hitting him, right? So what's left is just going to be basically cutscenes.
Oh, I'm not sure what happened with Matt, if he ran away or what happened, but he got the iframes and just didn't go left. So he took his time in the room, essentially. Meanwhile, Eri is entering Ganon's tower, and we saw the new meta for this year, walking down the slope.
Yeah.
And it potentially saves frames because you can be more precise with the walk.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, and I think Eri did mention that it's just more consistent, that you can be able to accurately or reliably be able to do that room or that screen quickly.
Consistency. And
That is definitely being very cautious. So yeah, in theory, like, so technically, yes, he was on one-hit KO mode. If he gets hit by the head, he would have been, he would have been sent back to the dungeon's beginning. He could, in theory, have taken a hit from the body that only does 1 heart of damage. But yeah, this is kind of what you want. Like, if you have the health to spare, you certainly want to be much more aggressive and basically just face the head on. If you get hit, you know, you get hit, right? You can always just slash them later. Matt does not have that luxury.
Oh, right. A menu at the warp. I'm always forgetting that this is a good option, a good time to use your menu to judge whether you get the warp skip.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I mean, like, we've been seeing this across multiple instances of the run, of course, is that, you know, Eri and Matt, of course, are strategically using their menu buffers in order to try and, like, you know, read the situation, maybe give them a little extra time. In this case, maybe, you know, there's maybe just a very subtle movement also that's kind of helped out with the menu buffer as well. We also did see the Eri not go for the arrows in the chest. Yeah, normally I thought he might have just gone for those, because I think we've seen him do that in the past, but we're just gonna get the old-fashioned arrows, you know, from before, was the one behind the big key. Okay, so I guess in terms of kind of like time difference, we do see that Eri is basically starting his climb right as Matt is entering GT to go obtain his GT big key from from behind Ice Armos. Yeah, and of course we also did see that both Eri and Matt ended up skipping the torch on the small key on the torch. That is one of 3 optional keys that you can, or one of 3 keys that you would need. The last 2 being upstairs, and nobody can waste a whole second basically getting like the safe key off the torch. It's very, I mean, you know, like, you can, if there's like, it's perfectly acceptable to do it, but it is going to be like again, it's a second that,
oh my gosh,
Matt and Eri did not want to spend. Okay, yeah, this is kind of unfortunate. I think Matt just was not far enough, I think. He just didn't quite make it with the hook shot. Is that?
I think that's correct, but Matt's reaction was so fast that I didn't even think that he was stopped by the pegs.
Oh.
But he had to be, because otherwise Link would have traveled fully.
Yeah. It looked like he was like just barely on the left side of the pegs, where he was kind of like pushed back a little. But, you know, I think to your point, when Matt kind of like saw that, like, you know, there was no like there was basically no hesitation. He just literally went straight back over. I mean, the Stalfos certainly did not cooperate with him. Maybe to be expected. This is a fight, by the way.
Yeah, unfortunate for Eri. A bit of a shaky land mode too with a second cycle, so the RNG was no good.
He should have just gotten more arrows, so we could have actually. I mean, didn't he get a 2-cycle apparently Lamos one with the bow? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So who needs magic? We want to be able to. We can save up a little bit of extra magic here for the top. We don't need any more arrows, right? I heard that we're probably not going to get silvers before Ganon, so.
Yeah, and Matt, Ice Armos was exactly what you want to see. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, so maybe outside of like some very like minor blips like here and there, I think Matt's execution has been just like very overly solid. He's done, some rooms very textbook very well. Just every once in a while, I mean, that's why we, call this maybe no major disasters. Hopium.
Yeah. Eri misses a fire rod shot, so won't be able to skip the magic, I don't think. He'll just go for it with torch key. I mean, that's excuse fine. Me.
Yeah.
Chest key.
It's chest key, yeah. It's like a very low, sitting torch, right? That you can open.
Goes for the hover.
All right.
Perfect.
Looks like his league application is already in the mail. Yeah, very well done on Eri's side, of course. I mean, yeah, and it's definitely going to be much faster, than being able to, having to kill the Moldorm, wait for the explosion, hook over. Very well done, especially if you're consistent. Did we get a good GPZ on Matt's side? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, so Eri had a perfect GBZ and Matt had to stop. Or got hit. Alright, Agatu, one of the most challenging fights. Well done for Eri.
Agatu. Okay, checks. Outside of Ball and Chain Guard, what do you think is the most difficult boss fight? Is it Ganon? Is that what's referring to? Or would you consider Agatu as part of your top 3 or 5 or?
For me, it's Landmos.
It's Lamos? Okay. Where does Agatu rank on your
Agatu is
list
next.
Of difficult? Okay, all right.
Agatu is next. Ganon is third for me. But has such a high skill ceiling that I can't really comprehend how difficult it is. So Eri going for the 1-on-1 gets a downward facing Ganon. That's always what he goes for. So Ganon stops just slightly before maximum distance down. And there we go. On to phase 3.
Yeah, looks great. And so Eri, I think, again, thank you, Sakehart. That extra half a heart in this case actually gives him an additional 1 hit buffer. Would have still been fine if he got hit by one of the bats, for example. Certainly, touching Ganon is not okay. But he has certainly passed the most dangerous part of the fight. All the bats are going to do 2 hearts of damage. The more danger part is going to be potentially being knocked off. So. Just try not to, ram straight into these bats. And if you do, for some reason, get hit, try to let go of your D-pad so you don't end up, actually falling.
Right, exactly. And the position we saw from Ganon at Torch Glitch is one of the more challenging ones, because if Link tries to slash downward, he'll bounce off of Ganon toward the hole. So Link has to face upwards before slashing.
I did not know that. It's great news. All right, well, that is Sword Up for Eri. Phenomenal run. I mean, like, Eri, wow. Yes, expectations, however high they are, Eri has met them all. Get your G's on chat for Eri taking first place certainly in this race between himself and Matt. But what an impressive 123 time. 123.12. I think, like, Fox is confirming. So Eri also ran a 123.08 earlier I think in week 1. So I think this is like Aries, like, so Aries set the first and the second.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I got to witness this low 123.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We are, okay, it looks like we are also joined by Ari, today's victor. Yo, Ari, GG's?
Congrats.
Oh, thank you.
Phenomenal run, Ari. I mean, we obviously saw a little bit of head shaking from you, you know, your hands thrown up, but I mean, you know, I like, looking at the 123.12 is amazing.
The run's super good, don't get me wrong, but you don't get light rolls like this very often. So, like, at that point, you're running more for a PB than running the race.
Yeah.
So just make, like, getting somewhat rough RNG and just not handling stuff really well on Skull on Ice just kind of brought the move down. But the rest was very solid until GT. But overall, it's just a super solid run.
Yeah, so Skull was really rough. I would have been so shaken by that mummy room. What is the deal with that room? I think you responded as best you could.
The hitboxes on mummies with statues is absolutely the worst. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but they're just glued together.
Yeah, they are.
It's co-op. You can't really, you know, do much about that.
Matt gets torch glitch, so just needs to finish out the fight.
Yeah, so we actually did get an uncharacteristic miss, but I mean, yeah, he's got plenty of like rhythm and time in order to kind of finish this up. Yeah, also, Ari, I think it just seemed like you got some bad RNG, I guess, especially in Skull Woods. We've obviously talked about like the Gyptos and stuff, but I think also like you got Skull Bush too, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of like trying to dash through. Oh yeah, and I was actually wondering about the Zora, like when you were kind of going to the portal to go into Ice Palace. So like you wanted to go up top. Like what happened in that? Like it was like, is it? Can you avoid getting hit in that situation?
I think I should just do the normal, the screen normally, and just fire at the Zora in that case, or maybe just like bounce off the rock on the bottom. But I kind of just let myself right into the fireball with the way I swam. I'm not exactly sure. It's so rare. Also, huge GG's to Matt.
Yeah, looks like Matt is. Yes, Matt did finish second place with a 126. Still, you know, very, very, very great time. It was also contributed by 5 blue balls, which probably did not help situations. But still played
6
quite
blue
well.
balls, thank you.
6 blue. Oh, sorry. Okay, I don't want to, you know. Sorry, we were not doing our best for counting, but we are also joined by Matt. GG's, Matt.
GG, Matt.
GG's.
Yeah, GG's, Matt.
GG's.
I think for the most part, it looks like you actually played. Like your mid game was very, very solid. You had a great Skull Woods. It looked like.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it was a little rough in Thieves Town, and then a little rough in TR and GT. Although that switch in GT, I really felt like I was okay there. I feel like if you get the hook shot off, you should be fine, but I guess not.
Yeah, I was surprised that it stopped you. I've seen that once before, but I don't know what the error is that causes that.
Yeah, well, I was too far to the right and too high up. But like,
Okay.
I don't know. I thought it was fine. Yeah, there's some okay stuff. Like the light world wasn't great, but it's tough to have a great light world in a race when you have to play Hera kind of safe. And there were some okay splits.
Yeah, nice run. Yeah, it's definitely when I see both of you race, it is like there's nothing to like criticize because it's
Chex is here,
it's
like
well
trying
done.
to go over the match with like a fine tooth comb, just trying to get every nitpick thing out there, and it was not successful.
I feel like there are some things you could have criticized in my run. But
yeah, I mean, same. It's never perfect, right? So
yeah,
but it's commentary shouldn't only be about criticism. So I'm glad that there was also a lot of positive stuff to remark on. I really appreciated listening to it.
I think also this is also like a race setting, right? Like it's kind of like one thing to do like a PB review or like a VOD review trying to go for it, but I mean that's what you guys did I mean, just trying to like keep the run on the rails, especially especially on very, very good pace, right? Is extremely nerve-wracking. So I think you guys did a great job. And of course, as I just want to echo Chex' sentiment, it is always like a pleasure to be able to watch you guys play just like such high level gameplay, like consistently. So just always great to see. But I think so. At least okay, right. So this was finals. You guys were both 2-0, kind of going into this. But I believe that Eri, you are the official, I guess, like winner, I guess, of NMG League Season 5? Mountain Division and 3-0, right?
Yeah, good season this time. I guess my race against Bitey was very jet-lagged, not so great, but the other two races were insane, so I'm not going to complain.
Okay, yeah. I believe, yes, you had also set the first and the second fastest time in NMG League. At least for is it all seasons, Fox, or is it certainly for this season?
Yeah. I think the best race time was like a free. Maybe it was Doomtap's 46 before this. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, I mean, we've certainly seen you kind of like churn out 123. Like I don't even know if like factory is a strong enough term to describe you. Like you have just churned these things out like. I mean, well, like a Terminator, I guess, in this case. I mean, but it's just so great to see, you being also consistent. And yeah, to be able to kind of witness one of these things live in a race setting is even better. But I mean, like Matt, of course, you were the winner of last league season. So I mean, I think for a defending title, I mean, I think this is an extremely impressive finish as well.
Yeah, I've vastly overperformed my skill level in NMG League, so I really have nothing to complain about. Like, listen, I was very fortunate to win one of these. I'm probably only ever going to win one of these, and I'm very satisfied with that. And like, listen, Eri's playing super well. It's fun to watch, and like, take your hat off to him. Like through some combination of talent and effort, like he's just the best, and it's just so much fun to watch, and it's fun to race him. So that's what this is all about, right?
Oh, for
Definitely.
sure. And I will say though, like, yes, like Eri's run was like incredibly impressive. I certainly do not want to ever take anything away. It's just sometimes like I also don't want to take anything away from your run. Like if you actually take away the 6 blue balls that you had, maybe take a couple down. And yeah, like you do have probably places you can go back and say like, yeah, I could have done this run better. I think like especially for race setting, you played very well. Like it's very difficult to be able to do everything all correct.
Too, right? This was like plus 30 on my PB, even with like the horrible endgame, the horrible Thieves Town, and the horrible Hera. Like my PB is very beatable for me right now. But like, yeah, it wasn't that bad for a race.
Oh, for sure. It just looks like the end time just looks a lot worse because of 6 blue balls. That's like over average. It's just another 18 seconds.
Yeah, and I got a lot of Ganon warps too. I didn't count them. It was like 6, I think. So that hurts as well.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
I had 5, so high 5.
Wasn't it Wayne who said if you were like within a minute of PBing, like of your PB in a race setting, that's like already really, really good. So
yeah, that's where I feel good when I'm racing as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in any given run, like if you're within a minute of PB, it's usually just shows consistency.
Okay. I'll go for a check if you have something to say.
Any other comments before we throw it over to ZSR?
No, just thanks for the commentary. I didn't really watch much of the race, but I'll try to watch it back. It's always fun to listen to you guys. GG's, Eri, congrats. That's about all I got.
Yeah, same. Thank you all so much, and looking forward to it being almost league again.
Yeah, I mean, League is so short. It's only 3 weeks or a little bit extended. But yeah, it's always great to be able to do these. Thank you so much, Eri and Matt, for racing. I mean, phenomenal race and performance as always. I really want to thank especially you, Chucks, for holding down the fort basically for all of Light World, where I was inexplicably absent. I'm sure, like, I mean, it's very appreciated basically for you to do solo commentary on something like this, and thank you for letting me join up late.
Definitely. Thanks for commentating with me. It was fun throughout. Fun race to watch. So thanks for racing it, Eri and Matt. And it's my last commentary of the season, so we are looking forward to the next season. And for anyone interested in running this game, feel free to join the speedrunning Discord for a link to the past. We always welcome new runners and want to help out. So feel free to start speedrunning yourself. So thanks all.
All right, thank you so much to Checks and Clearmouse for commentating, and again, GG's to Eri and Matt. We're going to have another Link to the Past NMG race in about 2 hours back here on ZSR2, but in the meantime, we're going to go raid Scrub Central. Stay tuned for some more Zelda action here on all the ZSR channels this weekend, and have a good Saturday night, everyone.